The Global Latin Factor Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, when we talk about Latino everything. That's right. This is the podcast where you can learn about Latino culture, whether it's food, music, artists, people from history, or people from the community doing something with themselves. They are Latinos that are expressing themselves and doing something for themselves. And it's awesome. It's great to celebrate. It's great to get to know who they are. And hopefully they inspire you to take action on anything that you've been wanting to do, and just for whatever reason you're hesitating. So again, thank you very much for being here. And again, welcome you and all to the podcast. Thank you for the ones that subscribe so far. We appreciate it very much. We know that you are listening. We appreciate your comments. And if you have not taken the time, go ahead and subscribe. The link's there or wherever you're listening to. We appreciate it. Okay, so this one is a very special episode because we do listen to what you tell us, and we find still able to read most of the comments that you send us. So thank you. And this one was actually suggested from TikTok. So we have a TikTok channel that we do, a page, and we upload pretty much everything that's related, like little short clips from the podcast directly from YouTube. And this one was actually suggested by one of the followers because they're actually related to this crew. And I'm like, okay, I got you. Give me some time. It's taking me a little while to get the episode out. However, here we are. And with no further hesitation, we have Los Auténticos Decadentes. Yes, Los Auténticos Decadentes is for an Argentinian group originated from Buenos Aires. It's a band that is mixed music, different kinds of music from Oscar, which originated back in Jamaica, from a mixture of American jazz, rhythm and blues, and things like that. So pretty much their phrase, the reason why they came up with the name is because they used to use the phrase "que decadencia" all the time, and that's how it just became a thing. And before you know it, they became a crew. So their lyrics are pretty much, it's like when I was thinking about how to describe their lyrics, I was like, they're like a romantic comedy type of vibe whenever you're listening to it, because their lyrics are romantic, but they're actually fun too, lyrics. If you listen to some of the songs, and some of the songs I'm going to name, if you stay checked in with the podcast, if you stay listening in, I'm going to tell you some of the songs. You'll be like, oh, that's them. That's them, the ones that sing that song. Yep. So they also have like a little bit of a vibe, reggae. And again, it's just overall like a sensation of a party whenever they're performing. Okay, so their style is like a little bit romantic. Some of the lyrics that they use on some of their songs actually are real life situations that they have going on with them, or real life experiences. And a lot of the times they do it on purpose, where the songs and the lyrics don't necessarily like cater to a generation. So it could be multi generational, as well as the genre, the gender of the actual song. You couldn't really tell if it's for a man or a female. And that's the reason why they've been consistent for a very, very long time. So, how long ago? Okay, the band was formed back in 1986. That is 36 years ago. 36 years ago, they've been in the band, and that's when they formed it. So they do have a book. If you're curious about to know, like, I'm from Argentina, I never heard of them. I'm pretty sure you have, if you're from Argentina. But if you're from South America or Mexicano or any other kind of Latino, you're like, who are these guys? Let me find out about it. They do have a book. I don't know where to get it, but if you search it, es la biografía de los auténticos decadentes. And can you imagine? So this guys, Los Auténticos Decadentes, has been on tour for a very, very, very long time. So if you think about, if you ever been on a road trip, all the stuff that could happen, if you have some adventures that happen sometimes, imagine over 36 years of consistent on the road and touring how many crazy stories they could possibly have. I can only imagine how well the book is. And I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you want to check it out, again, I know you already know that Google's a place to go. Find out where it's at. Los Auténticos Decadentes, and you'll find them. Now, the band was formed, as I mentioned, in 1986 by Cucho and Nito, who invited Gaston to join them. And this is back in the 5th grade. It had some ideas of what they wanted to do. Their sound, kind of, they defined it back in the day, so they named it Narco Tropical. That's what one of the interviews that I saw that they mentioned. And pretty much what they wanted to do is they wanted to create a sensation that anybody can play an instrument and get on stage, but maybe not necessarily efficient with the instrument, but can still create a vibe and a party that people can enjoy. Even if you're not the best player, you can still get in and join in the fun and, have a party. And if you ever seen them before, again, most of the Latinos that we're doing and all the episodes we're doing them in English, because all the interviews that I saw from Los Auténticos Decadentes, there was not one interview in English that they did. So a lot of the things they are saying, unless you know Spanish or find a way to translate it, then it's kind of hard to know who they are and who their story and how long they've been around. And that's the reason why I felt like it was like a necessity to have all these Latinos that all they do is talk about in Spanish, because as a native language they have no reason to do it in English. But I feel like if I introduce you to them, then maybe you'll find their music and be like, oh wow, this is who they are. Because I guarantee you, some of the songs, as I mentioned before, you are going to know who they are. I guarantee it. Okay, so in the 5th grade, they started the band. It feels like a party. And now, 36 years, they've been a band together. That is wild to me. They have 10 studio albums, a few compilations, and they also have live albums they perform. Now, you might think to yourself, 36 years, right? 36 years. Why is there only 10 albums? Well, I can think of one reason. If you're a Latino artist, if you get a song that is a hit, then a lot of the times that song will keep you fed for a long, long time. But the reason for them not to have more projects is because in those 36 years, they've always been on tour. In fact, on one of the interviews that I heard, they only have taken a break consistently for 2 months. That's the most they ever rested. And then after that, they're back in the road playing. And that's got to be like a World Guinness record. Like, maybe it has to be. No way that it's not. 36 was only 2 months that they took a break. That's crazy. So this is one of the songs that I guarantee you heard before. Loco, tu forma de ser. Me vuelve loco tu forma de ser. Yep, this is them right here. This is the gentleman that created that song. That song was actually written by Jorge Perro Viejo Serrano, and he was actually born in the U.S. of A. Yes, he was born in the U.S. of A. Their very first hit that they had way back in the days was Benny Raquel, which is an iconic, humorous, lyrical song, very fun, that if you listen to, you'll be like, oh man, oh yeah, I like this. And it is, can't help but just to be like, oh yeah. I can't help to vibe to the song once you listen to it. Oh yeah, I like this. Okay, so they have many other songs in the Argentine. As far as Argentinian nightlife, they're iconic. Like, you can't go into a club or something without having to hear some of their songs that they play, such as Corazón Loco, Entrega el Marrón, La Guitarrita, El Murguero, and I'm pretty sure many other songs. But if you go, which I will go, I don't know how I'm going to find my way, but I'll be in Argentina just vibing to it. Like, hey, what? I know about this guy's right here. What's up? I'm just saying. Okay, so Los Auténticos Decadentes, again, you make sure you check them out. They done different things. They collaborated with different icons in Argentina, such as soccer referee Guillermo Nimo. And later, also, they collaborated with Alberto Castillo, which they're from Argentina. And again, multi-generational artists, 36 years, always touring. And this is the members. And a big shout out going out to the TikTok user. I don't recall his name because everybody uses. But if you know, I'm gonna tag you on the TikTok. If you're still active on it, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little clip that we made an episode about the Auténticos Decadentes, because I really feel 36 years of making consistent music, having fun with it. One of their songs right now, I'm really feeling the lyrics because no quiero trabajar, no quiero decir, like I don't want to work, I don't want to go to school. I just want to party and enjoy my life. Which right now, since the pandemic started in 2020 till 2022, it's like I think it's everybody's anthem. I think I'm gonna jam one after I'm done recording this, and give them a follow and check them out. Los Auténticos Decadentes. Just jam out to their music, and I guarantee you'll enjoy some of them. So the band members that we have: Gustavo Cucho Parisi, which is a vocalist; Jorge Serrano, guitar, vocals, core, and Pinquillo. We have Diego De Marco, guitar, vocal, and choir. Or chore. Choir. Is it choir or chore? Choir. Sure. Nito Montechia, which is guitar; Gaston Francis Bernardo, which is percussion and effects and synthesizer. And we also have Martin La Mosca Lorenzo, percussion and choir. And then we have Daniel Sinbello, trombone. We have Pablo Ernesto, which is bass guitar. And then we have Pablo Rodriguez, saxophone, flute, and Pincuyo. Eduardo Tripodi, which is percussion. And we have Mariano Francescelli, which is drums, bass, guitar, percussion. And then we have Guillermo Capanga, which is trumpet. And then occasionally they do have a guest that comes in and helps them play, which is Claudio Carroza. So they're from Argentina, right? And we know that there's a lot of European, I believe it's mostly Italians in some areas. And you can tell by the names and the way that they spell. They'll be like, I thought they were from Argentina. Oh, they are from Argentina. But it seems like, again, just like we move around all over the place nowadays. It seems like there was a lot of names. Them to me, it seems like they're Italian. So that's awesome. I don't know what that beep is, but we're gonna move on to the next one. So our next Global Latin Factor contributor is gonna be Joe Quesada. Joe Quesada, which is before we get to that, I think we had talked about this. But I just want to touch on it again because I think it's pretty interesting. And I don't think Carlos believes me, but I told him, what if, like, I think it was Osmosis, the movie with this little guy, like the whole movie concept is like a microscope zooming in to see what's going on with the cells, and the cells like having their own world and everything. They have cars, they have all kinds of crazy stuff. So what if we were like just like a little cell inside what the universe would be, some kind of living organism or something, and we think that we might be like something huge, like, wow, yeah, I'm big, whatever. But like if you really think about it, and I said it often because I really do see it that way, right? We're in the world, we seem big because we're so small, and in comparison to the entire universe, our galaxy alone itself, we're like we're so little bitty. And I don't know, this thought just came to me, like, what we were just some kind of kind of cell in a living organism, right? Then that would be kind of cool, because we know we have cells right now and that just dying off, and we don't really get to, you know, think about that. And when we're gone, then the universe doesn't really acknowledge that we're gone, or maybe we become one with the universe finally in the consciousness of itself. And yeah, it's just a thought that I had, and I'll be like, let me share it because it's not a conspiracy. Well, it could lead to a conspiracy, but I think it could, Carlos, but I think it could be a thing. It could be something that somebody would be like, well, and then before you know it, kind of like flat earthers that all of a sudden they start coming up with their, oh, this, look at this, or whoever else, and be like, oh, but yeah, that's my thought about that. Okay, so we're moving on to our next Latino, all right? So before we move on to it, check it out. Make sure you tap into the merch. Easiest way to find some of the merch that we have. This is our Loteria version of the Global Latin Factor. It says the Global Latin Factor at the bottom. So tap in with the merchandise. Get yourself hooked up if you like Loteria. If you're a big Loteria fan, there you go. This is the perfect shirt for you. Check out the website, thegloballatinfactor.com. Go to the shop. Goes directly to Amazon to print this beautiful shirt. Great material, and you'll be supported, and we appreciate it. Okay, we have Joseph Luis Quesada. He was born, or AKA Joe Quesada. He was born on January 12th in 1962. He's a Cuban-American comic artist, writer, and penciler and television producer. Now, he became known in the 90s, in 1990, for his work he did in Valiant Comics, such as the Ninjaks, Solar Man of the Atom, and later he started working for DC Comics. But guess where he took his talent to? Guess. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But he also worked in such things such as Batman, The Sword of Azrael, X Factor, and then later on forming his own company. So he does have his own company called Event Comics, where he publishes his own creation, and his character is Ash. Now, before he even knew how to speak English, now he's very fluent in English and everything. Spanish was his first language. He had an opportunity to go to Cuba, free Cuba, and visit. And unfortunately, his mom had already passed away. But he said when he was walking around and he saw everybody around, that all the people, all the women and different things like that, like he literally, all he saw was like, how most of them look like his mom. And that made him very happy. So that's pretty cool. So his father, the area that he moved into, he said that there was a lot of immigrants from all different kinds of places, all different walks of life, from some from Argentina, some from Europe, I believe, everywhere, pretty much. Like a big melting pot, his neighborhood was. And a lot of the families and the dads, you'd be like, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor, you have to be something. You can't be nothing. But Joe Quesada loved doodling. He loved creating art. And he always get in trouble in school for it. And instead of discouraging him for like, no, you need to put that down. Like, so a lot of the times, a lot of people might see dads, Hispanic dads or Mexicano dads being like, no, you can't do it. You have to do this. But no, his dad was actually supportive enough to like he was one of the first one that told you need to be an artist. In fact, he so believed of what he told him that he was the first one to introduce him to Stan Lee. Now, I'm not too much into the comics, but I know who Stan Lee is. Unfortunately, he also passed away. However, before he left the legacy of different comics, and he was he was the creator of Spider-Man. And one of the comics that he saw, his dad told him, "Hey, I seen this gentleman. He's interviewing, I believe it's on the radio or TV, and he has a comic." So his dad took Joe Luis, to find the comic. They went to a candy store, and then they found the comic. And even though he said that he lived in New York, that and he knew where Spider-Man lived, that he could literally drive his bike to where he was at. In his mind, we're like, well, he's not real, but that he could be real. And I think it's a beautiful thing, that his dad was the one that actually didn't discourage him from following whatever he wanted to do and introduce him to the person that is like a legend in the comics. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So that was his first big magazine that he fell in love, which was the Amazing Spider-Man. Joe's first publication was Spelljammer #8 that was released in April 1991. He believes strongly in the DNA of the foundation, which is the MCU. So he's now with Marvel MCU, and he feels that the comics are still the foundation of the DNA of the MCU, and that's the reason why he still believes in publishing all these. And fun fact, did you know that all the characters that appear on the movies, all of them have first appeared on a comic before they go into the big screen? You can challenge me on that one and look it up, but I believe a lot of the ones that are diehard comics know that before they even go into the big screen, before they even make it to whatever, they have to be in one of the comics first, and then they make the big debut. It's getting crazy as far as if you're into the MCU and everything. I'm not huge, but I really thoroughly appreciate all the movies, even the DC movies, all of them. I think they're pretty cool. It's just getting crazy, and I yet to I yet to watch Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man. I owe it to my nieces. I need to go. Okay, so he went to school for visual arts. He earned a bachelor's of fine arts in illustration back in 1984. Quesada is hard. It was heavily influenced in manga, which is Japanese style art, which shows in his drawings, and he's also partnered with Jimmy Palmiotti, made up a company called Event Comics. So he partnered up with this gentleman to create, and again, his main character is Ash, a firefighter with superpowers. Ash, a firefighter with superpowers. Huh? Go hand in hand, right? That's pretty cool. I like that. In 1998, he became, okay, so this is crazy, right? This camera right here. In 1998, he became an being a Latino, Marvel editor for Marvel's Night line before becoming the editor in chief back in 2000. So he was the first Latino of the MCU in 2000 to become editor in chief, not only as the first Latino, but an actual comic to be an editor in chief. Usually, then he put a person that does that in that position, and he was the one. He was named Chief Creative Officer of Marvel Entertainment in 2010 and left his editor-in-chief role in 2011, being replaced by Alex Alonso. His position was retitled Executive Vice President and Creative Editor in October 2019. His role in Marvel was a bit of everything. He was pretty much, everywhere, with the comics, with the movies, with the theme park, with everything. And yeah, that's pretty cool. That Joe Quesada, if you're into the comics, you are gonna appreciate him. And of all the comics that are fans of Joe and his work and everything, if you have an interesting fact, leave us a comment wherever you're listening, whether it's YouTube or whether it's Spotify. If you're able to find a way to comment, or visit the website and let us know that for Joe, this is what you like. Give us a comment of what's like the most thing that you feel that is more important work that he's done. Or if you also a fan of Los Decadentes, then give us a comment of what is your favorite song that you like about Los Auténticos Decadentes de Argentina. Shout out to my Argentina people, mis argentinos, y a todos los cubanos. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember, we are just like you. We are the spice in this melting pot that is the world. Until next time.